Federal prosecutors may have their hands on one of the most incriminating pieces of evidence yet as they continue their investigation into Trump's handling of classified documents. A source familiar with the matter confirmed to NBC News that special counsel Jack Smith's office has obtained an audio recording that features Donald Trump discussing a classified document relating to attacking Iran that he kept after leaving the White House. But what makes it even more incriminating, the July 2021 recording also features Trump acknowledging that he knew that the document was classified. The source also added that the grand jury investigating Trump has heard this recording. And new reporting has revealed that after learning of the tape, federal prosecutors quickly issued a subpoena to Trump's legal team in order to obtain the document. Trump's team, however, was unable to locate any such document. So who better to break all of this down with than two friends of the show, Joyce Vance, former U.S. Attorney for Alabama and MSNBC legal analyst, and Hugo Lowell, political investigations reporter for The Guardian. We got the gang back together right here. Hugo, I'm going to start with you. You have your own reporting in The Guardian that's pretty spectacular on this Trump tape issue as well. You added, quote, for several minutes of the audio recording, Trump talks about how he cannot discuss the document because he no longer possesses the sweeping presidential power to declassify now that he's out of office, but suggests that he should have done so when he was still in the White House. I mean, Hugo, regrets and all, we all know the Jedi mind trick of declassification is not legit here. So isn't this a pretty damning piece of evidence for Jack Smith?
Yeah, I think the suggestion that he should have declassified, but he didn't, kind of speaks to the mess that has surrounded this tape. I think his lawyers for a long time have not believed the line that Trump can just declassify something with his mind. That seems to have come from the comms team as far as we understand. But his lawyers have viewed this tape with a lot of skepticism and a lot of concern at the same time, because they have seen this as something that would be bad for Trump if it did come out, basically when it came out to the grand jury, and then if it came out at trial, because that's the sort of thing that a jury would look at and think, oh, you know what, this guy knew his obligations and his limitations about sharing or discussing classified documents, and he admitted doing so on tape.
So, Joyce, the fact that Trump's legal team says, can't find it, we got the subpoena, but doesn't seem to exist at this point, does that militate in favor of Jack Smith's prosecution of Donald Trump? Or do you think in some way it might exonerate Donald Trump when it comes to his exposure, when it comes to Espionage Act, et cetera?
Well, it's never a good thing when you lose a classified document, right? So this has got to be bad news for the Trump camp either way, Katie. This case, though, I think, you know, the die was already cast that Donald Trump would be prosecuted in connection with these documents, at least as early as the point where DOJ was forced to obtain a search warrant to go and reclaim the documents. There are some benchmarks in DOJ precedent that divide cases where defendants are told no prosecution. That's Mike Pence. Yesterday, DOJ said, you turned over the documents as soon as you identified them. We're not going to prosecute you. And the distinction being Donald Trump, who not only withheld documents, but who refused to return them, did everything he could to hide them, and now has either lost, misplaced, or somehow mishandled a very important classified document in a way that merits prosecution.
Joyce, I'm going to stick with you before I switch over to Hugo. Hugo, on a previous show of mine, made the prediction that we should see a DOJ indictment of Donald Trump prior to the Fulton County indictment coming out. We know that timeline is end of July, beginning of August, according to Fani Willis. Do you agree with Hugo, considering all of the leaks and all of the evidence that seems to be rolling out for public consumption so far?
So I think the timeline is correct, but I doubt that DOJ is taking Fulton County into consideration when it times its indictment. When you're inside of the department, your primary considerations are making sure that your evidence is lined up and that the law is on your side, and then you have to go through an approval process inside of, you know, the building on Pennsylvania Avenue, having everyone who has an equity in the indictment review it, tweak it, sign off on it. I think that's very likely where the process is. There's another factor that enters DOJ's calculus about when to indict, and that's the onset of what folks at DOJ call the silly season, the political season. You know, you have to indict far enough out from the onset of the primaries to avoid the appearance of having a political influence on those campaigns. And that means June, even July. that's prime time for getting this indictment across the finish line.
Hugo, you also had some more blockbuster reporting, as you do, this week concerning what I have called the train wreck that is the Trump legal team. I wrote a piece for MSNBC Online where I said it's the political version of the Hunger Games, seeing how there's so much infighting and what I call people jostling with very sharp elbows to get pole position. Do you think, considering Joy's iteration here or explanation here of the possible indictment timeline, that the fact that there's this level of disorganization and infighting in Trump legal going to create even more problems for Donald Trump?
I think, it's certainly possible, right? We reported this week that there has been a level of distrust and interpersonal conflict that, we previously don't quite appreciate. It has been going on since September and has lasted all the way through. Along the way, there have been murder-suicide pacts. Along the way, there have been some lawyers withholding kind of legal deliberations and kind of legal strategy thinking from other co-counsel because they were worried they might brief their kind of perceived rivals. This, I think, reached a head a few weeks ago when Tim Parlatore, one of the lawyers on the legal team, resigned. I think things have become a little bit quieter now. I think the other lawyers are on their best behavior because they want to ride this part of the investigation out and see if it gets to an indictment. I think if it does get to an indictment, though, you should probably expect a reorganization of this legal team. We're already seeing Todd Blanche, one of the lawyers who Boris Epshteyn brought in for the Manhattan case within the Stormy Daniels hush money case, come onto the legal team for the special counsel representation. And it's very possible that he may end up leading this team kind of in the weeks ahead. So I think that's where the focus should be. We should be looking at whether there's a reorganization to kind of cut their losses about their last team and see if they can start anew in the event that there is an indictment.